I've trained calisthenics for 10 years. I've solely focused on strength. But what's on the other side? What can we learn from endurance? This is my journey to running a 70-kilometer ultramarathon in Japan. Okie dokie boys and girls, it is day 47 of Road to Shimanami. And this morning it felt like I was running through water, my legs were feeling heavy as hell. And I wasn't expecting it, to be honest, because I've been, taking easier days on the last couple days. But anyway, you're gonna have days like this where you don't expect to feel bad, but you feel bad, or, you feel tired. I don't necessarily feel bad. In fact, I feel great lately, but, in any case, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because whether you feel good or you feel bad, you feel tired or you feel energetic, if you're supposed to train today, then you have to train today. The actions that you have to take don't really change a lot in general, right? Because of course, if you're feeling tired, you might have to, or you might want to tone down things a little bit, but training or not training at all is not an option. So today, what I'm gonna do is a bit of an easier workout, but that doesn't mean that the exercises themselves will be light, right? Because just like you can use an easy exercise to, punish yourself into oblivion, to push yourself way beyond your limit. For example, if you're doing the push-up and the push-up is easy for you, you can do 1,000 of them, right? And it's gonna feel very tiring. You're gonna be able to destroy yourself. And just in the same way, with the same logic, you can also use intense exercises, but kind of hold back a little bit and still, be able to recover towards the next day. So what I'm gonna do today is still the one-arm planche, still the one-arm handstand. I'm gonna do some regular planche as well, and probably some one-arm pull-ups. Those are all very intense exercises. I can only do a couple holds, or like a couple holds of them, a couple attempts, perhaps a couple push-ups in the planche, or a couple reps for the one-arm pull-ups. I'm not able to do a lot of these, or a lot of volume in these exercises, but still, if I hold back a little bit in each set, I can use them to my advantage to kind of have a recovery day, right? Which is the plan today. So let's get started with some attempts. Fuck yes! Oh boy, I think that might have been even better than yesterday. Alright. Whew. A decent one-arm planche hold, a decent one-arm handstand hold. And something very important to remind yourself of is that when you do new things in your training, for example, for me right now, the one-arm planche is, well, it's not the first time I'm doing it in my life, but it's the first time in a couple years, right? So it's the first time I'm reaching this new level again, and I'm gonna be very happy when I achieve something new, right? A small hold, insanely happy in both the one-arm handstand and the one-arm planche, but as time goes on and I progress in these things, they will become normal, and so eventually you'll probably even see me getting frustrated over getting only a small hold, right? In a couple of months, if I keep getting stronger and I do a hold like this where it's 2 seconds and I fall down, I might be getting frustrated. But when you get to that point in a couple of months, remind yourself that, hey, at one point you weren't even able to get into the position, right? So that's why chasing goals is of course a great thing to do. It's gonna guide you on your training journey, but also don't lose sight of the fact that you're quite lucky to be even able to train in the first place, right? And just doing the training in itself should make you happy. But anyway, that's 3 attempts I believe I just did, so I'm gonna move on to a couple sets of planche and some one-arm pull-ups. Okay, so haters will say that was a half rep. I'm gonna attempt the deep push-up one more time just to see what happens. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I'm just having fun at the moment, right? This is a training with no expectations, and so I can just do whatever the hell I want. As long as I, don't go too overboard and start doing 10s and 20 sets of planche, I'm gonna be fine tomorrow. So now I'm just having some fun, and the fun is what will allow you to recover for next training. So let's see what happens on attempt number 2 here. That felt hard. One more set of planche. Ooh, nice. Ooh, very nice. Okay, so 4 one-arm pull-ups, that's way more than I expected to be able to do, and it wasn't even my max. I feel like on the left, I still had like 2 reps in the tank, and on the right, at least 1, but yeah, that was insane. Don't ask me why, because I genuinely don't know. Like, I haven't done one-arm pull-up in ages. I haven't trained pull seriously over the last almost 2 months now, because I was injured. And so yeah, I don't know why I'm able to do 4 one-arm pull-ups, but I'm gonna take it. My all-time PR is 8 reps, I believe, so maybe I should just aim for it. But anyway, that's gonna be it for today's training, and while there were some intense sets, I still think this was a good rest day, Was it the optimal rest day? No, maybe I should have done a little bit, less than I actually did, but when it comes to the end, the question, are you gonna be more recovered tomorrow than you are today? The answer is a definite yes. And why is that? Because some sets were like really intense. The planche push-ups were quite intense. The one-arm planche, of course, I'm still not used to, so it's very heavy. The one-arm pull-ups, I was doing 4 reps and I wasn't even expecting to be able to do that many reps, right? So even though I did quite some intense and good sets, it still is a rest day in my opinion because of the mindset, right? When it comes to your training, right, there is a huge difference between giving your all when you're just relaxed and having some fun and giving your all when you're in the zone ready to go and hit a PR. So today I wasn't thinking about setting any PRs or doing any crazy sets. It just happened to be there, right? And so even though some of these sets may have looked quite close to my maximum intensity, I wasn't in the zone. So the maximum intensity today was like perhaps 70%, right? And once you get in the zone of like, going all out, you get hyped with some music, then you start breathing heavy, you go for your sit, and you're just, you're nervous for your sit. Once you're in that situation, that's when you're actually able to give your actual 100%, right? Today, perhaps in some sits, I gave 90% of what I was physically capable of doing without going into the actual zone, without going into, or, focusing on the mindset. So in reality, that's still like 60% of what I'm actually capable of. And well, it's going to lead to some good gains. It's going to lead to me getting more recovered for tomorrow and day after, well, the days to come. Because tomorrow is not going to be focused on strength. Of course, tomorrow I have the half marathon coming up. But yeah, let's talk about that tomorrow. For now, I'm just going to head downstairs, have some breakfast, and I'll see you. Well, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.